Welcome back to our podcast. Robinson Sentongo, Senior Associate, Cornestone Asset Managers. I'm joined by
Joseph Kalema, Investment Manager, Cornestone Asset Managers. So Robin, tell me, what are the interesting things that happened during the week?
The week was quite interesting. We were honored to be invited to the Centenary Bank launch for their custodial business. This was an event that was attended by fund managers, by regulators, and also by the different representatives in the financial industry. This event was presided over by the Governor, Bank of Uganda, who in his remarks commended Centenary Bank for taking this huge step, because custody is very important in our space.
True.
Custody signals trust among investors that their assets are being kept securely and safely. But meanwhile, while we were there having lots of fun with the Centenary Bank group, there was a big debate going on in Parliament.
Yeah, the sovereignty bill, I remember.
Yeah. So the sovereignty bill was finally passed. It's no longer a bill, it's now a law. And
no, it's not yet a law, because the president has to approve it. So I think it's still a bill. We pray the president will.
Yeah, though while it was being passed, or before it was passed, certain wording was changed before. There were some amendments that were made, things to do with who is a foreigner, Ugandans residing outside Uganda. This was changed before the bill was passed, that now there may not be restrictions on these people, because Uganda receives a lot of remittances from abroad. Yeah, every year. So banks, remittance companies were worried that now, since Ugandans are limited from sending in these inflows from abroad.
Yeah, I think also when you look at also the private equity funds, most of the investors are foreign investors. So I think
yes,
they're quite comfortable.
They are not necessarily foreigners. Now you see that the bill is now primarily focusing on those people who are doing acting under political influence for foreigners. That's the people that the bill affects mainly. So even though it was softened, you see that the investors are now not only reacting to the law, but they are also reacting to potential risk that may occur. So that's why possibly we saw the shilling depreciating heavily.
Yeah, and some people are really taking advantage of the situation. I think yesterday the dollar touched 3.768 at some point. Yeah, but right now I think it's a bit stabilizing. Yeah, you mentioned the T-bill auction that happened yesterday. I had a look at the results in the morning, and noticed strong demand across all the tenors. 91-day oversubscribed by 1.52x. The 182 oversubscribed by 2.9x, and also the 364 oversubscribed by 1.68x. Why do you think that happened?
Yes, so I think this happened. The oversubscription signals strong investor confidence in the government of Uganda's government securities. Of course, given that the bill was passed, there's uncertainty around that, and then there is also uncertainty around the conflict, Iran and USA, but still the investors are still sure that they are confident in the economy, and
does that also speak to liquidity? There's a lot of liquidity in the market?
Yes, there's also a lot of liquidity in the market chasing these government securities, of course. Since we also see on the 182-day bill here, a very large amount was rejected. So all this money is going to be in the secondary market chasing for these bills offered the different government securities. Yeah, and then an interesting thing also about the 182 days, that rejection, because we saw investors tendering about 105 billion is what the investors brought on the table to try and get this bill. But government only accepted 34.5 billion.
Wow, yeah.
That's a big statement from government. And what I see from here, it's showing that perhaps the investors being very uncertain about this midterm, this 6-month period, of course, given everything that is happening globally, they were trying to bid for higher yields. And government, of course,
is not willing to borrow at a high cost.
Yeah, managing their borrowing costs rejected most of this.
Okay.
And whereas for the 1 year Treasury bill, one notable thing I saw at first is that we see a higher yield from the last auction. This one closed at 12.241. The other one closed at 12%. And seeing the investors brought 438 billion trying to get this 1 year Treasury bill. And government accepted about 260 billion, which is around half, but it signals that now investors bring in all this money to get this 1 year bill. They are confident about the longer term. They are willing to lock in longer for 1 year. But yeah, it was a very interesting auction. And I don't know if it has any indication of next week's auction.
Probably.
Bond auction next week. They will be auctioning a 2-year bond, 5-year bond, and a 15-year bond. We are going to be watching, observing, to see how the markets respond.
I think it's possible that all this rejected liquidity might spill over to the next auction next week.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Now globally, the big story remains U.S.-Iran tensions. I've heard there are some ongoing peace talks aimed to reduce military escalation and stabilize in the Middle East situation. And some reports suggest there's progress towards a temporary framework agreement, especially around the shipping routes. Has that guy actually left? There's that trader who was on the ship, watching the ships move, watching what is happening so that he can put in his trades. Possibly he has left by now.
That was a very wise move, but I reckon it's still there. Because even though these two sides are trying to avoid full escalation of the situation, the markets are not yet convinced that a durable agreement has been reached. And you see now for Uganda, oil price volatility is very important. Fuel prices increasing. This increases the transportation costs, inflation rising, and even the exchange rate.
True.
So we see that for Uganda, we are still affected as the situation is not yet clear. We've seen that some areas fuel is at 7,000.
Okay, so any closing remarks to our viewers?
Yes, so all in all, investors are watching both domestic developments like the sovereignty bill and also observing the geopolitical risks like the conflict. Thank you very much for watching us. We'll be excited to hear your views. Please put them in the comments. See you next time.
Thank you.